Here we're going to take a look at the tools and materials necessary for installing Crisis Shield CS-650. Here's our window prepping section where we use a regular rubber cleaning squeegee. We use Johnson's baby shampoo. We use a scrubby pad versus a stainless steel scraper blade to avoid scratching tempered glass. An important step in cleaning a window is wiping the frames with a paper towel to avoid debris and dirt seeping behind the film during installation. This is our rough cutting section where we use a canvas or like material drop cloth on the floor to avoid picking up dust and debris from the floor. In order to cut this heavy duty film, we have to use a heavy duty utility knife blade to cut through the thickness of the film. Our final table cutting section, we use a straight edge attached with 2 clamps and a speed square and Sharpie to mark a perfect right angle cut. This is our finish and set tools. We have to use a red line extractor, 3/8 inch, non-beveled, 5 inch wide with a big mouth 5 inch stretch handle. Then we use a hard card wrapped in a paper towel to bump the edges to avoid any water crawling back under the film. This is the rough cutting portion of the training video. Here we have our clear work area where we've put our canvas drop cloth on the floor to avoid picking up any sort of debris or dust from the floor into the film. You're going to need a helper here to hold the back of the box as you pull the film out of the front of the box. I have a 44 by 32 inch window and a 60 inch roll. So I'm going to pull 32 inches from the box this way using my tape measure on the floor. And once I do that, he will help me cut alongside the front edge of the cardboard box. Here I'm pulling the film out and I'm going to allow myself a few extra inches from what I need because I'm going to have 2 rough cuts on this side and that side that we'll need to later trim on the table to clean up for our final cut. Be careful not to lay it on the ground to avoid picking up dirt and debris in the film. And now my helper is going to cut alongside the front edge of the cardboard box using a utility blade as I hold the film. And now we're ready for our final cut. Here's the final cut portion of the training video where we take our rough cut film that we just cut out of the box, lay our straight edge on a cutting table, and use a clamp on either side to attach the straight edge. We recommend using a quick adjusting clamp for a easier and faster attachment. So we're going to attach it there, tighten it up. And now you're going to want a helper to hold the film on the other side and make sure the straight edge is holding tight and the film does not move so you can obtain a perfect straight cut. So to start us off, we're going to trim just a little bit of the front where we had a rough edge cut. So I'm going to use a straight edge speed square and a Sharpie to mark a straight line from the factory cut edge to get us a straight first cut. Now we're going to line that line up with the edge of our straight edge, and that will give us a perfect 90-degree angle square cut to that end. Using a heavy-duty utility blade, don't be afraid to cut into the table. This is the only blade that will be able to cut it in one pass. Be sure to go slowly and not too fast, so that your blade does not crawl away from your straight edge. And I go in different increments of about 10 inches or so to make sure I'm keeping straight. Now we have a perfect straight cut. So now that we have our straight cut on this side, we're going to repeat that on the other side with the measurement we need for our width that we pulled out of the box, which is 32 inches. The reason we pre-cut this film on a table is because you cannot cut it directly on the glass itself. You'll need a 1/8 inch reveal around all edges to ensure that the film fits appropriately in between the gaskets. But it's important to remember, don't go over 1/8 of an inch because you'll need the maximum surface area for the attachment system. Here we are at the window prep and cleaning section of the video. This is where we're going to show you what tools, materials, and soap formula we use to clean a window before we apply the film. Let's talk about our slip solution for mounting film. We use Johnson's baby shampoo. We use 1/4 of an ounce per 32 fluid ounces of water. Here we have a 1.5 gallon hand pump spray tank using our appropriate ratio of soap to water mixture. It's important to have a constant pressure and stream of water when spraying the window to ensure you cover all surfaces of the window with the slip solution. Here we're going to use our scrubby pad to scrub the window instead of using a scraper blade, which could scratch our tempered glass. It's important to use overlapping strokes when scrubbing the window and making sure that you clean it thoroughly. Also, scrub around the frames to make sure you get any dirt and debris that's on the rubber gasket off. Now we're going to respray after scrubbing and use our rubber squeegee to squeegee all the water off. Using a paper towel, I'm going to wipe all the frame edges and gaskets to make sure I got everything and every bit of dirt and debris off of the window. Now you're ready to hang film. Here we're at the set and finish portion of the video. It's a two-man job to get the film on the window. It's important to make sure your squeegee blade is clean and new with no divots or marks that could scratch up the film. Next, I'm going to spray the glass in entirety, ensuring I've covered every bit of the glass surface with the slip solution. Now we're going to pull the liner and spray the film in entirety before we put it on the glass. It's important to spray as you pull to minimize static pull onto the film. Ensure there are no dry spots on the film. Next, you're going to want to place the film directly where it needs to be on the glass to avoid extra movement and avoid stretching the film adhesive on the back. It's important to use your palms and not your fingertips to avoid divots in the film. To mount the film initially, we're going to use a T-stroke and make sure we've sprayed the outside of the film to allow the squeegee blade to slide. And again, do not move the film to avoid stretching the adhesive. Apply firm pressure using your other hand as support. And you're going to want 2 strokes over each pass to ensure the water has released from the film. I want to emphasize it's important to use a downward angle and overlapping strokes when pushing out the film. Let me demonstrate. It's important not to rush or go too fast. Using constant pressure and alternating sides. As you work your way down the window, make sure you have your center T set so that you can work your way from left to right as you go down the window. After you've finished pushing out the film, squeegee off any excess water on the film and the frame. Our last step to finish out this film is using our hard card wrapped in a paper towel to avoid scratching the film. And we're going to bump out the excess moisture around all the edges. It's important to rotate your paper towel as you change sides to ensure you have a dry section of paper towel. Following this process and using these tools will result in a professionally installed CS-650 application.